The Pico 4 should blow the Quest 2 out of the water, but it has some software issues that hold it back and make it feel more like a work in progress than a fully polished product. Given its rival's dominance of the VR space for the past couple of years, the Pico 4 was always going to have to prove itself against the Oculus Quest 2. And thankfully for Pico, the comparisons are generally favorable. From a specs perspective, its components are at least as good as what Meta offers. But it kicks things up a gear with an extra 2 GB of RAM for 8 GB total, a higher resolution 2160 x 2160 pixels per eye display, and color pass-through that could one day facilitate immersive mixed reality experiences. It sports a comfier design that better distributes the weight around your head, rather than having a front-heavy design like the Oculus Quest 2. As a result, even though the Pico 4 is 83 grams heavier than the Quest 2, it feels lighter and easier to wear. However, despite its clear upgrades, the Pico 4 has issues that stop it from achieving its full potential right now. The first is a lack of polish. Settings that should be the default, like the display having a 90 Hz refresh rate, are currently experimental or in development features, and the parse-through, while full color, isn't as sophisticated as what the Quest 2 and Meta Quest Pro can achieve. Another is its library of games. Despite including some of the best Oculus Quest 2 games like Wands Alliances and Walkabout Mini Golf, it lacks some heavy hitters that appear on Meta's hardware. This includes some of our favorites like Beat Saber and Resident Evil 4 VR. While Pico has promised that exclusive titles like Just Dance will be coming its way in 2023, it's not yet clear if these games will rival Meta's exclusives, nor how many exclusives are coming. The VR headset also isn't available everywhere. You can only buy it in the UK, Europe, and parts of Asia right now. Overall, the Pico 4 is a great device and worthy of a place on our best VR headsets list, but it sometimes feels like a work in progress. The issues aren't enough to make the headset bad in its own right, but they are enough to make the race between the Pico 4 and Quest 2 feel much closer than it should be. Unfortunately, the Pico 4 is only available in the UK, Europe, and parts of Asia, so those outside of those territories are unable to buy one without importing it. Pico has told us it's looking to expand into other markets but hasn't provided any firm details about its plans. However, given that some of the biggest Pico 4 leaks came from FCC filings, we wouldn't be surprised if at least a US expansion was on the cards for 2023. We'll have to wait and see. We really like the design of the Pico 4. While it's not quite as comfy as the Meta Quest Pro, it is a huge step up from the Oculus Quest 2 as it doesn't use the same front-loaded design. Instead, like the Meta Quest Pro, the Pico 4 spreads its weight across the headset. The display and main processor are on the front, and its battery is placed at the back as part of the strap. Along with its pancake lens optical setup, which is thinner than what the Quest 2 uses, we found that even though the Pico 4 is heavier than its Meta rival, coming in at 586 grams compared to 503 grams, it generally looks and feels less bulky. The design isn't quite perfect, though. The first negative we noticed was that the face padding is covered in fabric rather than silicone, which is what the Quest 2 comes with. If you tend to work up a sweat in VR, then you'll want to purchase the Pico Sports Kit add-on to ensure your headset doesn't soak up your face sweat. There's also no headphone jack. While we found the 360-degree spatial audio to be immersive and microphone quality solid, players might still want to upgrade the setup, especially if they want a more private experience. If you're in that camp, then you'll need a pair of Bluetooth headphones that can connect wirelessly to the Pico 4.